What's up guys, Bitter here, back for another video, and in this video, I'm going to discuss the version 3.4 developers radio, which they discuss the upcoming quality of life updates coming to the next version of Honkai Star Rail, or any upcoming versions of Honkai Star Rail. And not to mention, version 3.4 is one of the largest updates that will come in Honkai Star Rail, because we're gonna get fake collab. We're also gonna get another climatic part of Unfortunate Story, and also we're gonna get 3 most awaited characters in Honkai Star Rail, which is Archer, Saber, and Final. And so far, I think this is much more of an anniversary patch compared to the second anniversary that we got in version 3.2. And not gonna lie, I'm really excited. I am more excited in version 3.4 compared to the anniversary patch, not gonna lie. But well, this just shows that the developers, Honkai Star Rail devs, really appreciate their players so much. I know they're not perfect devs, they have their flaws, they have, especially on the meta side, but so far as a Honkai Star Rail player, I feel appreciated. But yeah, it's just me, I guess. I mean, yeah, I just love this game. So without further ado, let's discuss the upcoming quality of life updates in Honkai Star Rail. So let's get started with buffing the mentioned characters Silverwolf, Blade, Kafka, and Jingliu. So they promise that they will buff some old characters in the game, because some of the old characters really need some buff, especially with the current meta, especially with the HP inflation thingy, and so many stuff. And they deserve a buff because they're falling behind the meta. So it's not really good, and many players really like these characters. Especially me, I really love Kafka. Kafka is one of the mentioned characters that's going to get a buff. And I really love Kafka, and she's the reason why I play Honkai Star Rail. And it's so sad that I cannot use her most of the time in most of the endgame content now, because DOT isn't as strong as it was before. But now that they said they're gonna buff these characters, I'm so happy that they did, because I played some of the gacha games, especially Fate Grand Order, where they buffed some old characters in the game, and so far, thank God, they're taking notes from FGO, except for the gacha team. The gacha thing in FGO is horrendous, but the way the power creep system is really shines on. But yeah, I'm glad that they're gonna buff these 4 characters, and I'm looking forward that more old characters will gonna get buff in the future, because not gonna lie, there's still many characters that needs buff. But yeah, and I think these 4 mentioned characters, Silverwolf, Blade, Kafka, and Jingliu, they're the ones who needed the buff the most, because these 4 characters really falling behind the meta. And Blade and Jingliu are kinda, they need a little bit of rework, and they will do just fine. Especially Jingliu and Blade. Jingliu and Blade are really good DPS. It's just that they have some underwhelming scalings and underwhelming damage, and all they need is a little bit of tweak on their scaling. And so far, I hope they really fix their scaling. So I'm looking forward to that. So now let's see how this buff works. So starting in version 3.4, Silverwolf, Blade, Kafka, and Jingliu will have enhanced mode enabled by default. So that means that you can still use the pre-buff version of the character and the buff version of the character. I think this is a good thing, especially for the guide makers, to make a comparison what the difference between a buff and the pre-buff and the buff version of the character. This is a very good thing, and also it allows you to choose how do you play these characters. If you, for example, if you want, if you don't like the buff that given to a character and you still prefer the pre-buff version, you can still use the pre-buff version and you can do just fine. I'm so happy that they did this, because it's a really good thing. It allows, it gives those players a choice, which is a very good thing in this game. This enhancement includes adjustment to their abilities, traces, and Eidolons. So that means that there are some Eidolons traces are also gonna get buffs. So let's see what are those buffs in the future when we get version 3.4. So for example, Silverwolf's ultimate skill have been updated. Her ultimate is now an AoE attack instead of a single target one. That's a big thing. AoE ultimate. Because I'm not gonna lie, her single target ultimate doesn't really, I mean, it still deals a good amount of damage. But since the meta right now in Honkai Star is not single target but AoE, so now I'm thanking God that she actually now AoE ultimate. And her skill will now prioritize adding the weakness type of the first ally in your lineup. So this, I think, they reduce the RNG in her application of weakness type. So now the first ally, which is most of the time it's DPS, that they're gonna she's gonna add weakness element. So I don't know if this still has an RNG, or it's just that the first ally in your lineup will have a bigger RNG, more larger chances of their element to get applied. So we still don't know that yet, but I hope it's a guaranteed, I guess, or who knows? We'll get to know it. And meanwhile, Trailblazers can toggle enhanced mode on or off at will. Turn it off to restore the character's original abilities. So this is actually a good thing. Like I said, it gives a choice to the players. For example, if they don't like the buff the characters receive, they can go back to the pre-buff version and do just fine. So yeah, that's actually a good thing. Now, next, new feature, more freedom in story experience. Starting in version 3.4, 2 new features will be added: skip dialogue and story summary. Version 3.6 will further introduce the story recap feature. No matter how you like to enjoy the story or where you are in your journey, we hope these tools help you experience Honkai Star your way at your own pace. Ain't no way. They've added skip button in Honkai Star Rail. I mean, Honkai Impact has a skip button, and Zay has a semi-skip button. You cannot skip all of the dialogues in Zay. But this one, skip button, like literally a skip button. Oh my god. They actually did it. Skip button actually exists in Hoyoverse game, a fully functional skip button. Okay, how does this work? Okay, wait. Version skip dialogue story summary. Version 3.4 will introduce both dialogue skip and story summary features. Dialogue skip story conversation will be broken into segments so you can skip by paragraph. So story summary, when skipping you'll see a summary. Oh, that's actually good. They're giving the summary. For example, you don't have time to listen to the dialogues and stuff. You can skip, and there's a story summary where, you know, it at least reduces the misinformation. You know, it at least gives you some context of what happened during that scene. The dialogue skip feature will apply in dialogues in Trailblaze missions. Trailblaze mission is the main story, or in Genshin terms, the Archon quest. Trailblaze continuances, companion missions, and adventure missions. It does not apply to cutscenes or exploration gameplay. They actually add skip button on almost everything except for cutscenes and or exploration gameplay. I think exploration gameplay doesn't really matter that much, but adventure missions, which is like, this is like the world quest in Honkai Star. The world is the Genshin, you know, world quest from Genshin. This is the world quest in Genshin. They actually added dialogue skip button on almost everything. This is actually good. Oh my god. Now, for every players who has sub accounts, you can now skip everything. You can now... Oh my, that's actually good, especially with people with sub accounts. The reason I also use sub accounts is because I cannot get all the characters in one account. So in order to test some of the characters, in order to test get some other characters, I use sub accounts to actually allow me to pull for the characters that I cannot get on my main account. So yeah, this is a very good thing, especially with people with little time. You know, for example, employed people, especially employed people, they don't have much time and they want to still play Honkai Star Rail. This is a very, very, very good thing. Skip button really is a good thing. So also, for those who are worried about spreading misinformation stuff, or you know, the pandemic of Pot Striders of Enigmata, I don't think you need to worry about them, because not gonna lie, even without the skip button, misinformation in lore or story are still prevalent. Even Genshin has a lot of misinformation things, pandemic, even though they don't have a freaking skip button. And I think skip button is a good thing because it allows many people, especially if they don't have time to actually experience the story, you know, this a lot of yapping. I think this is a good thing because it allows people to actually play the game at their own pace. If they don't really want to play the story, so be it, right? Allow people to actually enjoy the games at their own. I know Honkai Star is a very story heavy game and I love the story in the game, but I think people deserves a choice to, if they want to skip the game, skip the story, let them be. And also the misinformation thing, just let people be. That's why we are exist to actually correct some of these people, you know. So yeah, in version 3.4, story summary will be available for the worlds of Amphorius, Jarilo 6, and Turtle Space Station. So they didn't add story summary in Shanzalua 4. I wonder why. The rest will be added in version 3.6. Oh, the Shanzalua one is gonna be version 3.6. Okay, so this is actually the most important. If you're gonna add skip button, or sure you won't know the scenes, you know what the context of some, even though there's a summary there. And if you I really like that they will add some sort of story recap where you can still experience those dialogues again and again. Just, you know, you need, if you want some recall. And this is the story recap that they're trying to add in version 3.6. The new story recap feature will go live. Trailblazers can choose to re-experience complete Trailblaze missions, Trailblaze continuous, and companion missions. They can freely choose if they wish to view specific cutscenes or cinematics. Additionally, story recap will also allow for you to experience different dialogue choices or have the dialogue options to be freely chosen, thus making the recap experience even smoother. However, the story combat experience cannot be reviewed for okay, oh my god. So basically, you can revisit some of the dialogues in the game with story recap. This is a good thing because this complements the skip button. Now you don't have an excuse to be ignorant in the lore where story recap exists. This is a good thing. This is a very good thing. So yeah, I'm glad they're going to add story recap because this story recap is a complement for the skip button. So it allows, you know, it doesn't give any lore skippers an excuse that, you know, they don't read shit. So story recap is there to actually give some context and, you know, also revisit some of the choices that you want to choose that you didn't choose. So this is actually a good thing. Story recap. Oh my god, they're actually adding better experience. Oh my god, I love Honkai Star. Okay, this one is for new companions. Core Wobble is here to help. Feeling overwhelmed while building your characters. Coming in version 3.5 will be launching Scholar will be beta on Hoya Lab. So basically, this is just on Hoya Lab. I don't care about the Hoya Lab thing that much, but yeah, I think this is such a good quality of life update. It's a big thing, especially skip button and the story recap. It's a very big thing. This is a very big thing, especially for us Honkai Star players. Now we can actually have more fun in the game. I know that there are way lesser events in the game right now that I think Honkai Star isn't that, you know, a game that you should really invest that much of the time. The only time where you're gonna invest a lot of time is the story, so it's quite understandable. But there are still many people that they want to play the game as it is, and they want and they are too lazy to play the story, you know, because they don't have time. They are too tired to play the game, you know, and they just want to play the game at their own pacing. You know, I think it's a very win-win situation to us. I know the misinformation thing is what you worry, but I don't think, you know, it's regardless of whether there's no skip button or there is a skip button, it's still the same. It doesn't really, you know, change at all. People, regardless of having a no skip button, misinformation will always still be there, and that's why we people exist who knows the lore very well to correct them. There's nothing we can do. It's a very pandemic. It's like a disease that you cannot. It's like 99.9% germs eradicate, and there's still 0.001% exists. And yeah, I'm very happy. I'm very happy with this developers radio. They are so really good with this. I feel like 3.4 is anniversary part 2, or in fact this patch might be better than the anniversary patch because they added this good quality of life updates. This is a big thing, especially we're also getting fake collaboration in this version, so I'm very excited what's coming there. So yeah, the developers did cook, devs listen, oh my god, and I'm very happy. This is why I love Honkai Star Rail. That I really love this game. So I think that's all for this video, and thank you for watching. See you guys next time. Bye.